what it'd be like to wake up in the morning.
Hey, welcome back to Good Day on this Wednesday morning. A new documentary premiering today focuses on the state's water crisis and how it's affecting residents, business owners, and national security through the lens of the San Joaquin Valley.
Mary Ann's with the folks behind the movie, renowned filmmaker and documentarian Tim Tebow.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if there's one thing that California talks a lot about, it's water. How much we have, when are we going to get more, do we have enough, and the situation with our droughts. I want to introduce to you the people you're just talking about behind Beyond the Brink. From your left here, Felicia Marcus is the chair of the State Water pardon me, just my notes here. State Water Resources Control Board. Jim Tebow is the director of this documentary, Beyond the Brink, and Timothy Quinn is here. He's the executive director of the Association of California Water Agencies. You guys, thank you for coming in and talking about this today. Jim, I want to start with you. Water has always been a hot topic in California. We were talking about the movie with my husband, Chinatown, just the other day, and whoever thought that a movie would be about water would be any big deal. But water is probably the single biggest topic that everybody can talk about here in California. What inspired you to do this movie now?
Well, this is the third film that I've done on water. I did one called Running Dry, which was about the global issues, and then one on the Colorado called The American Southwest, where we're running dry about the impact of the Colorado and so forth. And this is the third one, which is really looking at the interconnections between water and food and national security. And a lot of people really underestimate the fact that this is not just about agriculture in California. This is about a national issue.
Talk more about that link. When you talk about national security, how does it tie in?
Well, if you know, as has been mentioned in the film, I mean, if you're eating a salad in Brooklyn, for an example, the ingredients comes from California. And we're talking about not only just food, but we're talking about healthy food, the kind of food we should all be eating.
Right.
And that's the importance of this. This is a national security issue, but the Valley is really a microcosm of the global issues. And California has very unique climate. You know, we have semi-arid Mediterranean climate, which is only in only 5 regions in the world that have that, and they are our food basket. And that's why it's so critical and important. Felicia,
with the State Water Resources Control Board, I'm kind of encapsulating your mission here, which is to guard California's water supply for future generations. How has our water situation in California changed your mission over the years?
Well, I just think the fact that, you know, water is an unappreciated fact of life in
Take
California.
It for granted.
I think the recent drought, which we now know, I read this week that someone said it's the worst since Columbus came to America, but it's not unique in our geophysical history. And so I think this drought was a gigantic wake-up call for folks that we can't take water for granted. And it also exposed the fact that people don't realize the importance of water in daily life for agriculture and how important food is and the water content of their food, as well as important for fish and wildlife, which is also important to us, as well as to healthy communities. And I think what it's done is lit a fire under us to figure out how to be more intentional about how we manage water and how to be more thoughtful about figuring out how to make it work for all 3 of those really important California needs.
And Timothy, real quickly, I know you work legislatively on California's water policy. Just real quickly, what are we doing legislatively to help protect California's water future?
Well, right now, we passed major laws in 2009. And then more in 2014. Water is on the agenda of the legislature pretty much continuously, and we work together to try and get it right. This year, there's conservation legislation that's moving forward. There's legislation to finance healthy drinking water for disadvantaged communities. So the legislature never rests when it comes to water. And sometimes they get it right.
Well, all right. So don't be fooled into thinking water's a boring topic. If you want to check out this documentary, it's premiering at the Crest, not the Crest, at, it is at the Crest, today, 4 o'clock. How long is it going to be there?
One showing today, 4 o'clock, followed by a panel.
One shot followed by a panel, 4 p.m. at the Crest in downtown Sacramento if you want to come and check it out. Guys, thank you so much for coming in, and it's always top of mind. Are we having a good water year? Are we not having a good water year? So hopefully we'll continue to improve it. Thank you so much for being on Good Day today. Guys, back to you.
Nice to get some context on that as well.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
You.